My name is Khan, and I'm not a terrorist.
All right, so the topic that we chose for our course is exploring Hindi cinema in the 21st century. And so before we get into the details of the course and how we structured the course, it's important to understand why should we explore Hindi cinema. So India received independence in 1947, and that is what, less than 75 years of independence. And the nation has progressed significantly, specifically in technological development. But there have been areas where the nation hasn't. It's important to note that India is considered the world's largest democracy, yet it hasn't progressed significantly in liberality, education, and perception of others. And recently, over the last decade or so, the Hindi film industry, also known as Bollywood, has begun to promote social causes to alter societal norms.
Okay, and one of the biggest things that we want to take away from this course is how appealing the Bollywood film industry has been in terms of the global cinema markets. So, for example, India has produced twice the amount of movies as the U.S. last year, but it's not even just in terms of the number of movies. The other thing that's interesting about the film industry is how it tries to shows progressive movements for social ideas that are going on throughout India. And so, for example, most of the protagonists in films usually overcome a real world problem, such as overcoming dyslexia, or even trying to get over the region divisions in India. And so I think that it's really cool, and we would think that they would enjoy the course because it shows an entertaining aspect to revolutionary science.
Okay, so the main objective of this course is to simply introduce Hindi cinema to an American student audience who have either little to no experience with Hindi cinema. And introducing Hindi cinema to American students, we feel, is a very important subject matter because, first of all, the United States and India share many parallels in terms of social issues that both countries kind of contend with. And by learning about and understanding the social issues in India, we can take that information and apply it back to America and understand these social issues in different contexts. Second, America, since it's such a big world power, it has this ideological influence over the rest of the world, essentially. And in order to understand that, which is a pretty important topic, it's a good idea to sort of zoom in on Hindi cinema, which is very reflective of the ideological influences that India itself has, which a lot came from America, such as liberalism and the ideas of progress. So that's another important issue we wanted to study. And third, Hindi cinema is enormous. It's a gigantic industry. And so it doesn't just affect India, it affects and influences countries all around the world, including Hindi cinema is huge in China and Hong Kong. And for instance, one of the movies we're talking about, Three Idiots, is actually so popular in Spain that it has a Spanish remake called Tres Idiotas, which according to Bren is terrible. It's not very good. But as you can see, it was so popular in different countries that it was able to have that remake. And lastly, by watching foreign cinema, students will gain a better understanding and become more welcoming of different cultures and foreign ideas and stuff like that, because once you're more exposed to different ideas, then if you enter into a different setting with different people that you may have nothing in common with, you can understand them and connect with them in a much better way.
And most of the students who come into this course will have a Western perspective of Bollywood films and Hindi cinema, and so we wanted to include this textbook so that the students would be able to develop a more generalized and holistic perspective they'll be able to appreciate Hindi cinema. Along with that said, we will present the Hours of the Furnaces because that is a great example of revolutionary cinema. We will use it to compare to the other Hindi cinema films that we'll show throughout the class so that they will understand how most Hindi cinema films provide an entertaining aspect to revolutionary cinema.
So we chose 2 films to discuss rather than going into all the films, and then after this we'll get into the structure of the class. So here is 3 Idiots, as Jacob previously mentioned. So 3 Idiots exposes Indian society and its audience to problems in the educational system, and it tries to avoid the stereotypes that Indians are doctors, engineers, and lawyers. And furthermore, it emphasizes the importance of following one's dream. Don't just choose a job that's lucrative. Follow your passion and do what makes you happy. And with that goes with the theme of you got to reach for excellence. Don't go for the money. Try to be the best at what you want to be. And to exemplify these themes, we have a clip to show you from the film.
What is a machine? आप मुस्कुरा क्यों रहे हैं?
एक्चुअली सर बचपन से चाहता था कि इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में पढूं। आज यहाँ बैठा हूँ, बहुत मजा आ रहा है सर।
ज्यादा मजा लेने की जरूरत नहीं है। बोलो मशीन का डेफिनेशन बोलो।
सर a machine is anything that reduces human effort, sir.
Will you please elaborate?
सर हर वो चीज जो इंसान का काम आसान करे या वक्त बचाए वो मशीन है सर। गर्मी लगी, बटन दबाया, हवा चालू, फैन, मशीन है सर। मीलों दूर आप अपने दोस्त के साथ बात कर सकते हैं, टेलीफोन, मशीन है सर। करोड़ों का हिसाब चुटकी में करता है, कैलकुलेटर, मशीन है सर। सर एक्चुअली हम मशीनों से घिरे हुए हैं सर। पेन की निब से लेके पैंट की जिप तक सब मशीन है सर।
एक सेकंड में अप, एक सेकंड में डाउन, अप डाउन, अप डाउन, अप। डेफिनेशन क्या है?
सर वही तो बता रहा हूँ सर।
एग्जाम में ये सब लिखोगे? ये मशीन है। अप डाउन, अप डाउन। इडियट। Anybody else? Yes.
Sir, machines are any combination of bodies so connected that their relative motions are constrained, and by which means force and motion may be transmitted and modified as a screw in its nut, or a lever arranged to turn about a fulcrum, or a pulley about its pivot, etc. Especially a construction more or less complex, consisting of a combination of moving parts or simple mechanical elements as wheels, levers, cams, etc.
क्या बात है? Perfect. Please sit down.
Thank you. Thank you.
लेकिन सर मैंने भी तो वही बताया सर, आसान भाषा में।
आपको तो सिंपल भाषा पसंद हो तो आर्ट्स एंड कॉमर्स कॉलेज ज्वाइन कीजिए।
लेकिन सर मतलब भी तो समझ में आना चाहिए। ऐसे किताबी डेफिनेशन रट के क्या फायदा?
आप किताब से ज्यादा जानते हैं। किताब में यही डेफिनेशन है, और अगर आपको पास होना हो तो आप यही लिखेंगे।
लेकिन सर और भी तो किताबें हैं। ओह भाई,
आसान भाषा में बाहर जाइए। Idiot. So we were discussing about the machine. अरे तुम वापस क्यों आए हो?
सर कुछ भूल गया सर।
क्या?
Instruments that record, analyze, summarize, organize, debate, and explain information that are illustrative, non-illustrative, hardbound, paperback, jacketed, non-jacketed, with forward introduction, table of contents, index that are intended for the enlightenment, understanding, enrichment, enhancement, and education of the human brain through sensory, root, or vision, sometimes touch.
अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो?
किताबें सर, बुक्स भूल गया सर, ले लो।
तो सीधा सीधा नहीं कह सकते थे?
थोड़ी देर पहले कोशिश की थी सर, लेकिन आपको सीधा सीधा पसंद नहीं आया।
So from the clip, you can see that the theme that at least the clip is trying to show is the problem in the Indian education system. Currently, they just promote trying to pass the test, get the best marks, and simply rotely memorize the definitions from the textbook. They're encouraging students to not learn to learn to just get high grades. So from this, I'm going to go to Chak De India, which was directed by Shriram Aman in 2007. And this film takes the audience through a course of, takes the audience through a journey in which 15 girls are united to play international women's hockey. And one of the themes that it explores is gender roles in society. Over the last 75 to 100 years, India has been a country that hasn't promoted much liberality for women. And this film really exposes the audience to that and promotes exposes society to the regional division that currently exists in India. There are certain regions that sometimes insult other regions. Sometimes there's tension between areas in India, and this film serves to introduce society and hopes to reform that idea that India is a nation as a whole. Here's a clip from the film to reiterate the quote.
कबीर साहब, वर्ल्ड कप आप भूल ही जाएं तो अच्छा है।
और इन लड़कियों को भी कह दीजिए जिन्हें आपने उल्टे सीधे सपने दिखाए।
मगर हमारी बात तो इस टीम को वर्ल्ड कप के लिए तैयार करने की हुई थी।
स्टैम्प पेपर पे थोड़ी हुई थी कबीर साहब जो आप हमारा गला ही पकड़ लेंगे।
मगर बात मेरे सामने हुई थी त्रिपाठी जी।
अब भी आपके सामने बात कर लेते हैं। देखिए, एक तरफ है इंडियन मेंस टीम, कम से कम ब्रॉन्ज मेडल तो लाती है, और दूसरी तरफ इनकी शर्चीली टीम जो
मगर ये टीम वर्ल्ड कप के लिए एकदम रेडी है।
कल ये चांद के लिए रेडी हो जाएंगे तो भेज थोड़ी देंगे अब तब सब।
टीम वर्ल्ड कप नहीं जा सकती, ये फैसला हो चुका है।
साफ क्यों नहीं कहते आप कि वुमेन्स हॉकी का स्पॉन्सर छीनकर मेंस हॉकी को दे रहे हैं?
आप खिलाड़ी लोग हैं, जिन बातों से आपका कोई मतलब नहीं उसमें क्यों पड़ते हैं?
त्रिपाठी जी,
एक मैच हो जाए।
क्या?
हाँ, एक मैच हो जाए मेरी टीम में और आपकी टीम में।
मतलब मेंस टीम और वुमेन्स टीम में?
वही, आपकी टीम और मेरी टीम। अगर हम हार गए तो हार गए, अगर जीत गए तो वर्ल्ड कप।
सोच लीजिए कबीर साहब, पांडवों वाली शर्त न लगा बैठिए, चीर गरम हो जाएगा।
और आपका तो बात पहले भी हो चुका है।
ठीक है, परसों सुबह हो जाए।
अरे कम से कम तैयारी का वक्त तो दीजिए।
परसों सुबह मतलब परसों सुबह, हाँ या ना?
त्रिपाठी साहब,
परसों सुबह फील्ड पे मिलते।
So as you can see from that clip, there is a lot of tension between the association and coach the women's team, and the association didn't really view the women's team as an entity or a representative team of India. It's also important to note that before the clip, there was a scene in which this man right here, the head of the association, said that that the women should not be playing hockey. They should be in. This is a quote from the film. He should be. The woman should be in the kitchen or taking care of the family at home. So obviously there are some gender stereotypes in the film that the film hopes to challenge.
Okay, so now moving on from course overview into the specifics of the assignments for the course. I'm just going to read right down the list. So you see we have reading and film comprehension quizzes, and these will be bi-weekly quizzes that will test students about plot events that happen in the readings and the films that we do for the class. And this is mainly to ensure that the students are keeping up on the readings and the films. Next we'll have blog posts, which work very similar to how they work in this class. Students will be prompted to respond to the films and articles from the class, and they will have to write between 300 and 500 words about the topics. And similar to this class, they will have 2 days to respond to their peers' posts in order to facilitate discussion. And so the next 3 are the 3 big projects or artifacts, if you will. The first one is the contextual film analysis essay, and for this, students will write a 5-page traditional essay comparing and contrasting 2 of the films that were watched in the class up to this point. And the goal of this project is to analyze the central concepts and themes of the films and identify any social issues that may have been addressed in the films, and discuss these themes in context with the 2 films and in contemporary American society. Next is the advertisement project, for which students will create an advertisement like a poster or a teaser trailer if they'd like. Creating this for an American audience for one of the films, again, which have been watched in the class up to this point. And the goal of this assignment is to capture the essence and message of the film and convey these messages in a concise manner, providing implications about the social issues discussed in the films and relating them to American society. And lastly, the final production project. It's the cumulative project for the course. And this project is a group project. Students will get into groups of 5 people, and they will produce a short film of about 10 minutes or a little bit less in the style of the Hindi cinema films that we have watched in this course. And the goal of this project is to address a pressing social issue in contemporary society from an artistic and generally entertaining angle. So now just running through just the week to week, we're just gonna kind of gloss over it. If you'd like to follow along in the syllabi that I have typed out, you can go ahead. But so the first 3 weeks, we're really just starting to get into it. We decided to start out with the movie Singham, which is from 2011. We just thought it gave students a good idea of Bollywood and Hindi cinema. And it's probably a movie from which you've seen scenes before, just because of the ridiculous physics-defying stunts in the film. I'm sure you've seen them before, of cars flipping over a million times and stuff. So we thought that's something that students might be able to relate to because they've seen it before and really get them into it. And in week 2, we'll have students watch Hour of the Furnaces because, again, we thought it was a good to look at the origin story of revolutionary cinema to a certain extent, so they can see what they're really trying to get themselves into. And then by week 3, we'll be getting into more modern social issues, like by watching Tarzan Par, which is about a child with dyslexia. We'll be discussing mental disorders and stigma surrounding them in India and relate that to the rest of the world. So for the next 4 weeks, we will be doing the 2 movies that Varen actually just gave us introductions to. We'll be looking at 3 Idiots and Shark to India. And this is when we'll discuss challenging gender roles and the education system. And we have associated readings with each of the movies there. And then the 4 weeks after that, we will be watching the movie PK and the movie My Name is Khan, from which the clip that we showed you in the beginning of our presentation was from. And these movies are going to be, tackling issues of ethnic and religious divide and prejudices. If you remember from the clip, he said, "My name is Khan, I'm not a terrorist." So that's attacking the religious and ethnic prejudices that are present throughout the world. And I think these are easy issues for us to see within our own society as well. And then going on to the final 4 weeks of the course, we'll be sort of allocating this 4 weeks pretty much exclusively to the final project, because producing a 10-minute film is going to be a lot of work for the kids. So week 12 is when we'll get into script workshopping, and they'll have the script draft due at the beginning of week 12. And then the next 2 weeks will be independent group work time, in which students will film and edit their productions. And then week 15 is when we will finally get a chance to screen the films and enjoy them as a class.
Okay, so the grade breakdown is pretty self-explanatory. The contextual film analysis essay and advertisement project are both 20%. They're pretty major assignments. And then the cumulative project is the biggest assignment, which is 30%. Blog posts make up 50%. Reading films and quizzes are 10%. And finally, attendance and participation is 5%.
And ultimately, through this course, we hope to expose students to enough Hindi cinema to be able to seek out movies that, in accordance to their own tastes and interests. Also, going back to one of the main objectives of our course, we're trying to relate American history and events in American history to Indian social causes. And a good example of this was, for instance, Chak De India, going through regional division. Obviously, America back in the 1800s had some regional division, and we're going to relate that to the film as well.
Yes, and so at the end of the day, we just want you guys to take away that this course would be really interesting because it'll allow you to look into Hindi cinema in a way that allows you to appreciate how they offer solutions to different social issues that are commonly present in modern day India, and it would allow you to understand how the audience is able to actually enjoy that as well. Understand things. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Questions? How did you choose the film?
Well, so I mean, I've had personal experience with all these films, but also there were like I think there was one syllabus that we went through that had some of these films. I believe it was from some weird name university. I don't remember.
What's your name?
Well, what we found in looking at the syllabi, it was kind of hard for us to find syllabi similar to our own, just because all of the Hindi cinema courses that we looked at were really looking at like the history of Hindi cinema through like the 1960s, 1970s, all the way up until now. But we really wanted to focus on the 21st century and how these films can be given to a mass audience, and that's where we decided to focus on. So we didn't really, there were some overlaps in films, but we really decided the films ourselves, independent of other syllabi, just for that reason.
Jared, do you
I'm thinking.
You definitely have a question.
Well, possibly. Are you aiming to more compare in Bollywood cinema to like Hollywood cinema, or are you just aiming to spread Bollywood cinema to America?
We're not doing any comparisons to Hollywood cinema, and I'd just like to shed light on the term Bollywood. We're talking about Hindi cinema.
Okay.
Bollywood takes into account cinema across the entire country, so it's like movies in like different languages other than Hindi.
And also, we kind of assume that most of the students have, experience with Hollywood cinema just because it's so prevalent. So this course kind of acts as like in opposition to that. So we're assuming they're coming in with all of this experience of American Hollywood cinema, and then we compare it to what we provide.
Final comments or questions? Ben?
What?